In 2009, paranormal researcher Fiona Broom attended a conference where she casually mentioned her memory of Nelson Mandela dying in a South African prison during the 1980s. She recalled news coverage, a widow's speech, even riots following his death. Except Nelson Mandela didn't die in the 1980s. He was released from prison in 1990, became South Africa's president, and died in 2013. Broom's memory was completely, demonstrably false. And what happened next is where this becomes fascinating. Dozens of people at that conference shared identical false memories. Same decade, same prison, same news coverage that never existed. They coined a term for this phenomenon, the Mandela Effect. Since then, researchers have documented hundreds of examples, millions of people sharing identical false memories across unrelated populations. Berenstain Bears, spelled with an E, Curious George with a tail, a northern continent called Arctica, Freddie Mercury singing specific words that were never recorded. This isn't about poor memory. This is about collective consciousness contradicting physical evidence in patterns that shouldn't be possible according to our understanding of neuroscience, psychology, and reality itself. Let's explore the evidence together, shall we?
So, I don't know if y'all believe in the Mandela Effect, but I found this at a thrift shop for 50 cents. Let me flip the camera.
What are your thoughts?
Stan and Jan Berenstain published their first children's book in 1962. Over 6 decades, the series sold more than 260 million copies. Generations grew up with these books, parents reading to children who would later read to their own children. Here's the anomaly. A 2016 survey conducted across multiple online communities found that approximately 73% of respondents, that's nearly 3 out of 4 people, remembered the name spelled Berenstein, Berenstain, with an E-I-N ending.
I collect VHS tapes and I specifically look for animation. And I think most people know about the Mandela Effect. We end up remembering things very differently compared to reality, but now I'm not so sure about what is the truth. What is actual reality?
Okay, the Mandela Effect that I am about to tell you about is one that I was hesitant to bring up because I feel like so many other TikTokers have said so much about it already. But the people seem to want to hear it from me. So I'm about to tell you about the Mandela Effect. This is the one that really, really got me. This was the first one that blew my mind and made me 100% sure that the Mandela Effect is not a conspiracy. It is real life. And that is the Mandela Effect about the Berenstain Bears. I remember reading so many books about the Berenstain Bears. I remember watching TV shows, and I even remember playing computer games about the Berenstain Bears. So imagine how shocked and appalled I was in about 2014 when I found out that that is no longer their name. They are now called the Berenstain Bears. Notice the A. That wasn't there before, and I'm here to let you know that. I was 100% sure that this was an absolute hoax because I knew for a fact I was no, it's the Berenstain Bears. But then even the family who wrote these books, they used their own last name. Their last name really is Berenstain. And they were no, that's been our last name this whole time. And so I'm convinced that once upon a time, their name was Berenstain and they wrote the Berenstain Bears. And then somehow they shifted, or I shouldn't say they shifted. I shifted timelines. And in this timeline, they're named Berenstain for some reason. I don't know why. However, a watcher of this series, Samantha Little, who I will be linking in the caption, so go check her out, sent me these photos of preserved books that have the, in my opinion, correct spelling. Which, side note, if you don't think I'm getting your comments, you can always DM me on Instagram because it's really overwhelming here. But anyway, thanks, Sam, for can I call you Sam? Is that okay? Well, anyway, thank you for providing these, because obviously someone in your family must have brought these with them from the previous reality that we were all living in, or else the Mandela effect just doesn't work the way that I think it does. Either one is possible because the Mandela effect is a mystery. But if you remember the Berenstain Bears instead of the Berenstain Bears, that means that you jumped out of the same parallel reality that I did.
Where's your tail, Georgie?
H.A. Rey and Margaret Rey created Curious George in 1941. The character has appeared in over 100 books, multiple television series, and films spanning 8 decades. Curious George is one of the most recognizable characters in children's literature.
Maybe this is a Mandela effect, I don't know. But there's definitely something off in the timeline, some signals have gotten crossed, or we've just been lied to or something like that. I don't know what it is, but this has been bothering me, and so now I'm going to tell you about it, and maybe it'll bother you. So here it goes. Everybody knows and loves Curious George, right? Like, we all know Curious George. He's that delightful little monkey who jumped into the suitcases of the man in the yellow hat, and the man in the yellow hat brought him back to the city, and then Curious George basically starts wreaking havoc all over the city. But here's the problem. He's not a monkey. Curious George ain't a monkey. At least not any monkey that I know of. But you know why? Because Curious George, he don't have a tail, and monkeys have tails. It's one of the main characteristics of a monkey. See, and if you look it up, the internet gives 2 possible explanations. It says he's either a barbarian macaque, which if he is, the illustrator sucks because he don't look nothing like that. Or they say he's a bonobo chimpanzee, but then a chimpanzee is an ape and not a monkey. So they're either, pulling the wool over our eyes, or something funky's going on in the timeline. Because they never even said why Curious George don't have a tail. It's not there. It's nowhere. So what's up? Is Curious George a monkey or an ape? Or is this another Mandela effect and we've been lied to our whole lives?
In 1977, Queen released We Are the Champions. It became one of the most recognizable sports anthems in history, played at stadiums worldwide for nearly 5 decades. Ask anyone to sing the ending.
I know the song, We Are the Champions. We all remember the ending of the song. He goes, we are the champions of the world. But that's not the ending lyrics. It just ends with, we are the champions.
Of the world, what?
We are the champions of the world. The champions. We are the champions. No time for losers. We are champions. Of the world, of the world.
That's right.
Of the world, you hear that? That a boy. Look at it. Oh, we didn't record that.
The Fruit of the Loom logo, established in 1851. A simple design, an apple, grapes, currants, and green leaves. No cornucopia, no horn of plenty, never in the company's 170-year history. Yet thousands of people described learning what a cornucopia was, specifically from this logo, asking parents, what's that basket thing?
The one that got me was Fruit of the Basket.
Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah,
What about it? It's in the basket.
Yeah, but it's not. Basket was never a thing.
Shut up.
I
No,
have a
bro.
whole timeline of the logo.
No,
Never had it.
that's not true. No, you need to stop this.
They never had it.
No.
They never ever had it.
No, there's the cornucopia there.
That's not a real logo.
Viral claim debunked? What?
I'm on the actual website right now.
I regret taking this podcast.
Hey, man, too late now.
Did you see the lady that actually proved the Mandela effect as a government experiment?
So she was able to prove this?
Yeah, so one of the most popular Mandela effects is the Fruit of the Loom Mandela Effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where everybody remembers there being a cornucopia on the logo of Fruit of the Loom clothing, but apparently there's not.
Yeah.
And this lady was super convinced that there used to be a cornucopia on the logo. But Fruit of the Loom came out and said that they've never had a cornucopia. Like, basically just calling this lady crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Fruit of the Loom even has a post of all the past logos they had, all the way back to like 1893. And basically they're trying to prove that they've never had a cornucopia on their logo. But then someone came out and they actually have photo proof of this, that they found a piece of clothing in their closet with a cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom logo. And then after this, people did more digging and they actually found newspaper articles talking about Fruit of the Loom and how there's a cornucopia around it.
So this is like the first Mandela effect to really be confirmed?
Yeah, then they literally found government documents of the Fruit of the Loom company mentioning a cornucopia, showing that the cornucopia has been a part of the company. So they can't say it's never existed, right? And since this lady has been able to prove this Mandela effect wrong, people now think that the government has been using the Mandela effect to try to see how much history they could erase without the population knowing.
The Monopoly Man, rich Uncle Pennybags, created in 1936. Top hat, white mustache, cane, monocle. Except he's never worn a monocle, not in any official artwork across 85 years. The confusion with Mr. Peanut seems obvious. Mr. Peanut does wear a monocle.
This is the Mandela effect that gets to me, because I 100% remember the Monopoly Man had a monocle. I'm older than dirt. When I was a kid, Monopoly was our video game. I played this all the time, and that bastard had a monocle. And it's not because I saw it in a movie 30 years later.
Who is this ghastly man? Ace Ventura, pet detective. And you must be the Monopoly guy.
I am as sure about this as anything in my frickin' life. So there's no doubt in my mind the Monopoly guy had a monocle.
Luke, I Am Your Father, The Empire Strikes Back, 1980, one of cinema's most quoted lines, parodied endlessly. Darth Vader never says this. The actual line, "No, I am your father."
Absolute, incontrovertible evidence that parallel universes and the Mandela effect is real. Here goes, y'all.
Aside, Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told these little children.
Luke, I am your father.
He told these little children.
Luke, I am your father. Luke, I am your father.
Four different categories: music, corporate branding, games, cinema. Same structure, specific false memories supported by claimed physical artifacts. Memories that predate any possibility of social media contamination. Geography education has taught Arctic versus Antarctic since formal schooling began. Arctic, northern polar region. Antarctic, southern polar continent. One is ocean with floating ice. One is a landmass. Yet a phenomenon emerged in the early 2000s. Thousands of people claiming to remember a northern polar continent called Arctica.
So we're all familiar with Santa Claus, the 12 reindeer, plus Rudolph, the elves. They all live at the North Pole, right? So where exactly is the North Pole? This is what I want you to do. Go on Google, pull out your old textbooks, show me a picture of the world. Point to the North Pole. So this is a picture of what I and probably many of you remember the North Pole being covered in ice. But you look up Google Earth and in fact, no modern maps have ice at the North Pole. So where did it all go?
Okay, answer me this. Where does Santa live? Like, I saw this Mandela effect and it bugs the heck out of me because where does Santa live? North Pole, right? Where there's all these snows and icebergs and just mountains of just coldness, right? Wrong. The North Pole is nothing but ocean. There's nothing there. If you go on the map, there's no land whatsoever in the North Pole. It's just water. Did anybody else know that it was just water? Because where was Santa's workshop then? Apparently that's the Mandela Effect, because I remember growing up always knowing that there was land in the North Pole, and apparently now there isn't. So you tell me what reality you're from. And TikTok this for entertainment purposes only.
June 4th and 5th, 1989, Beijing, China. The Tiananmen Square protests, one of the most documented events in modern history. Thousands of photographs, hours of video footage, international news coverage from dozens of networks. On June 5th, a single man stood before a column of tanks. The image became iconic, a symbol of individual resistance against overwhelming force. The photograph won the World Press Photo of the Year. Time magazine named it one of the 100 most influential images of all time. Here is what the documented record shows. The tanks stopped. The lead tank attempted to drive around the man. The man moved back into its path. This continued for several moments. The man climbed onto the lead tank and spoke with the driver. Eventually, civilians pulled the man into the crowd. He disappeared. His ultimate fate remains unknown, but he was not killed by the tanks in that moment.
All right, I'm about to tell you about the Mandela Effect that I've been afraid to talk about, considering we are on a Chinese app. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and do it. We're going to talk about Tank Man. Tank Man was actually an unidentified protester. I don't think we ever did know his name, but he actually was, a part of a protest standing up to communist China. And he went and stood in front of a tank to basically make a statement. And many people all around the world remember footage of the tank running him over. This actually happened in Tiananmen Square. There is actually a System of a Down song about it where it's referred to. And many people who were alive in 1989 when this took place, they clearly remember seeing this footage. And I even think that I've seen the footage. I wasn't alive at that time, but I'm pretty sure that I have seen it because it was very it was a very big deal in the world at the time that it happened. So it became a part of history. But now it's said that this man was never actually run over. He was just arrested and the footage can't be found anywhere. So is this another Mandela effect? Because people remember this happening. It's not something that you just forget or remember wrong. It was a huge moment. Or is it just a communist cover-up? Did they remove all the footage off the internet and just try to pretend that it never happened? I don't know. What do you think? Mandela effect or communist cover-up? I could go either way.
We have now examined 8 distinct phenomena, 8 categories: children's literature, entertainment, corporate branding, music, geography, cinema, and documented history, spanning decades, crossing cultural and linguistic boundaries, independent origin points, no single contamination source. The pattern is consistent. Millions of people sharing specific, detailed false memories that contradict physical evidence and historical documentation. Traditional neuroscience and psychology offer compelling explanations. Elizabeth Loftus's research on false memory creation demonstrates how easily human recollection can be manipulated and contaminated. The Dees-Rudiger-McDermott paradigm demonstrates how memory works through association and reconstruction rather than perfect recording. We don't store memories like video files. We store fragments and reconstruct them during recall, introducing errors and confabulations each time. Social contagion explains how false memories spread through populations. Once someone suggests the Berenstain Bears might have been spelled differently, others begin to question their own memories. Confirmation bias amplifies this. details that shouldn't be consistently identical across independent false memories unless something more unusual is occurring. Several theoretical frameworks attempt to explain these anomalies. The multiverse hypothesis, grounded in quantum mechanics, proposes that parallel realities exist simultaneously, under certain conditions, perhaps involving consciousness, quantum entanglement, or space-time fluctuations. These realities might intersect or merge. The many worlds interpretation, proposed by physicist Hugh Everett in 1957, suggests every quantum event spawns parallel universes. If consciousness operates on quantum principles, as some neuroscientists propose, then memory might retain information across parallel timelines. The CERN connection centers on the Large Hadron Collider, beginning high-energy operations. In 2008, the LHC smashes particles at velocities approaching light speed, creating conditions that haven't existed since microseconds after the Big Bang. Some theoretical physicists have suggested that experiments at these energy levels could create micro-singularities or affect space-time geometry. Reports of Mandela Effect phenomena increased notably after 2008. Correlation doesn't prove causation, but the timing is intriguing. If particle physics experiments can create ripples in space-time, might those ripples affect the stability of timeline continuity or the consistency of physical reality? Simulation theory proposes that our reality operates like a computer program, consciousness experiencing a rendered environment rather than base reality. This isn't mere science fiction. Philosopher Nick Bostrom's simulation argument presents a logical framework. If advanced civilizations can create realistic simulations, and if they choose to create many simulations, then statistically we're more likely to exist within a simulation than in base reality. Under this framework, Mandela effects represent patches or updates to the simulation. The programming changed. This explains why physical evidence updates perfectly while memory sometimes doesn't. The simulation rewrites official records, merchandise, publications, everything within the rendered environment. But if consciousness accesses information from outside the simulation, memory could persist from pre-update states. Each theory has strengths. Each raises profound questions. Each suggests that reality is not as solid, objective, and consistent as we've been taught to believe. What we're observing isn't just memory failure, it's consciousness encountering contradictions at the intersection of memory, physical evidence, and shared reality. These contradictions shouldn't exist, according to our current understanding of neuroscience, physics, and information theory. Yet they persist, documented, widespread, consistent in pattern, unexplained by conventional frameworks. The Mandela Effect challenges everything we believe we know about memory, consciousness, and reality itself. The consistency of these patterns suggests something significant is occurring, something that doesn't fit within our current scientific and philosophical frameworks. Do your own research. Examine primary sources. Verify documentation. Question the explanations, including mine. This is Dark Prophet C-137. Question everything. Accept nothing without evidence. Follow the patterns wherever they lead. The search for truth continues. What's your Mandela effect? What do you remember that reality says never existed? Share your experiences in the comments below.